"If you can fix it, I will pay you double the value of this car," he scoffed. She did not laugh. She just got to work. It was 3:42 p.m. on a Thursday when the engine died. There was no fire or explosion, just a gentle shudder, a flicker of a dashboard light, and then silence. The air conditioning went first. The thick Georgia heat, as if it had been waiting for its cue, seeped in. Vincent gripped the steering wheel, his eyes narrowed behind his sunglasses. "Fantastic," he muttered, pulling the SUV onto the gravel shoulder near an old, weathered sign. Bell's Auto Repair, 1 mile ahead. There was no cell service, no roadside assistance, and no spare vehicle. He took off his sunglasses and looked at his reflection. His expensive designer shirt was stuck to the back of his neck. The air conditioning would not be coming back on, and neither would his patience. Vincent stepped out. The expensive leather shoes sank into the soft gravel. The sun was relentless. He gave the engine one last disgusted look and slammed the hood shut. The heat intensified, roasting his body and his mind. A mere mile away, each step was a struggle. His perfectly styled hair was disheveled, his clothes stuck to his body, and with every step, a piece of his pride shattered. Bell's Auto Repair was unassuming. The open sign flickered as if it did not believe in itself. The building was low, square, and the paint was peeling. The only sign of life was the slow whir of a ceiling fan and the faint sound of jazz from a dusty radio. Inside, the smell of rubber, metal, and fried food hung in the air. A woman was hunched over the hood of an old Chevy. She did not look up right away. She wiped her forehead with the back of her hand and returned to her work. A girl, about 10, sat nearby, her legs swinging from a high stool, a sketchbook on her lap, and a pencil clenched between her teeth. She was the one who noticed Vincent first. "Mom," she whispered, "someone is here." She straightened up slowly, wiping her hands on a greasy rag. Her face was etched with the lines of hard work, the kind of work that had no room for pretense. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice even. Vincent stood up straight, crossing his arms. "My car died about a mile back, overheated, no signal for some reason. Can you take a look?" She grabbed a hat from a hook and gestured toward the road with her head. "Sure, Zora, get the toolbox." The girl hopped down, already moving. Vincent leaned against the car door, his arms still crossed. "I usually have a whole team that handles this sort of thing," he muttered, half to her, half to himself. "I shouldn't even be stuck out here." She did not respond. He glanced over at her. "Do you always work alone like this?" "Not alone," she said, her eyes still on the engine. "I have my girl." Zora was now sitting cross-legged in the gravel, sketching the rearview mirror. Vincent shook his head. "She should be at camp or something." The woman straightened up. "Camp costs money. I own the place. She comes with me." Her voice held no apology. Vincent took a good look at her face. He was an accomplished man, and yet he was unnerved by the calm professionalism of a mechanic. She seemed completely unfazed by his expensive clothes. "Well then," he said, "if you can fix it, I will pay you double the value of this car." Zora snorted, without looking up. Ilara did not miss a beat. She looked him straight in the eye and said, "All right." There was no joke, no flirtation. Vincent blinked. For the first time in a long time, he was without a comeback. But something about her delivery made him want to stay and see what would happen. Ilara opened the hood wider, leaning in with the kind of focus Vincent had seen in neurosurgeons. She did not say much, only reached, adjusted, listened, and wiped something down with a rag that looked older than her daughter. The entire process was intentional, as if even the silence had a job to do. Vincent glanced around again. No receptionist, no espresso machine, just 3 cracked stools, a sagging couch covered by an old blanket, and a 2018 calendar tacked to the wall. Zora was now on the couch, flipping to a fresh page. She glanced at Vincent and then back down at the paper and started to draw. "Are you drawing me?" Vincent asked. Zora did not look up. "Something like that." Vincent smirked. Make me a superhero, please. I do not know what kind you are yet, Zora said, with complete sincerity. Ilara let out a small laugh from under the hood. Vincent crossed his arms. Oh, and what do I look like? Zora finally looked up, squinting. Someone who is strong, but probably needs a nap. The remark made Ilara laugh out loud. Vincent's eyebrows went up, intrigued. Are you raising a comedian? She is observant, Ilara said, her eyes still on the radiator. She gets that from her father. There was something gentle in the way she said it, as if the name itself had weight. Vincent did not ask any more questions. He sat down on one of the stools, wiping away a layer of dust, with a gesture that looked like he was swiping a business card. So, how bad is it? He asked. Ilara leaned back, wiping her hands. Your cooling fan fuse is shot. Could be more issues, but that's the first thing. I'm going to have to replace it. It should take a couple of hours. I have one in the back. Vincent nodded, unhappy. I have a meeting at 6 inches, Charleston. Ilara glanced at the sun through the garage door, then shrugged. You'll make it, just barely, if I don't mess it up. The remark made his mouth twitch up at the corner, so reassuring. She disappeared into the back, while Zora continued to sketch and hum an off-key tune. Vincent tapped the heel of his shoe against the concrete, the rhythm slowing until he stopped completely. Still no cell service. He looked over at the girl who was now drawing his SUV as a cartoon animal, with long eyelashes and a smirk. Do you come here every day? Vincent asked. Zora nodded without looking up. Yes. Does it get boring? Sometimes, but Mom says boring kids get to be creative. Vincent's eyebrows went up. Does it work for you? Zora held up her sketch. What do you think? It was actually quite good. The lines were loose and playful, but the details were sharp. She had even captured the exact slump of the tired CEO's shoulders. Vincent smiled, surprised. You have talent. Zora grinned. I know, Ilara returned, carrying a small box and a set of wrenches. We'll need about an hour and a half, she said, turning back to the hood. You can stay here or walk to the diner 3 blocks away. It is pretty clean. I will stay, Vincent said, almost too quickly. He was not sure why. Maybe it was the quiet, or having no one asking him for anything. Or maybe he just liked the idea of being invisible for a minute. I used to draw, he said suddenly, not sure who he was talking to. Zora listened. What happened? I grew up, Vincent said with a shrug. Zora did not answer right away. Then she said softly, that does not mean you have to stop. Vincent looked at her. Something on his face softened. But just as the silence began to feel warm, Ilara's wrench clanged loudly against the engine, and the moment was gone. The heat had not let up, but inside the garage, something had shifted. Vincent's posture was no longer rigid. He had unbuttoned his top button, taken off his leather shoes, and was sitting barefoot on the old couch, with his phone face down beside him. Zora was still sketching. Ilara worked in a rhythm. Slow, steady, methodical. What's your name? Zora asked suddenly, looking up from her drawing. Vincent? You do not look like a Vincent. He raised an eyebrow. What do I look like? Zora squinted. Maybe a Nikki or a Tasha. Something with more life. Vincent chuckled. I will take that as a compliment. There was a pause. Then she asked, Are you rich? The direct question was a slight jolt. Vincent paused, his eyes narrowing playfully. Why do you ask? You are dressed like that, Zora said, matter-of-factly, and you came in here like you were used to giving orders. Vincent let out a genuine, booming laugh, more from shock than from amusement. Well, I am the boss. The CEO of a logistics company, a big one. Zora blinked. What's logistics? We move stuff, Vincent explained. Goods, containers, trucks. We help people get what they need. Zora considered this, then giggled. Like UPS, but less brown. Vincent leaned back on the couch. Why do you ask so many questions? Zora shrugged. People do not talk much when they are waiting. It gets boring, so I just ask. Are you always this blunt? Zora smiled. My mom says bluntness saves time. Vincent nodded slowly. She is not wrong. In the back, Ilara reached for another wrench, pausing just long enough to glance at them. She did not interrupt. Zora closed her sketchbook. "Do you have kids?" Vincent blinked. "No. Why not?" "It is complicated." "Oh." Zora did not press, but her eyes stayed on him. Vincent exhaled through his nose. "I guess my work did not have room for that. I was always chasing something bigger." "Like what?" "I am not sure." Zora nodded, as if she understood. "Did your mum teach you how to draw?" "No, I just did it on my own." "She seems like a good mom." "She is," he said without hesitation. Vincent looked toward the engine. "Do you ever get tired of being out here?" Zora shrugged. "Sometimes it's a little boring, but I like watching my mom work. She's never in a hurry." The words hit Vincent harder than he expected. Ilara's voice broke the silence. "The fan's in. Give me 15 more minutes and we should be good to go." Zora hopped off the couch, stretching. "I am going to get some water." "Do you want some?" she asked Vincent. "Yes." As Zora went out the side door, Vincent slowly made his way over to Ilara, watching her tighten the last few bolts. "She is smart," Vincent said. "Almost too smart sometimes." "Do you always bring her here?" She did not look up. "I do not have a lot of options. I would rather have her here with me than send her to a place I cannot afford or do not trust." Her voice held no shame, only fact. "Do you ever worry that she is missing out on things?" "Missing out on what?" "iPads and air-conditioned classrooms cannot teach her half of what she's learning sitting right here." Vincent was silent. Finally, Ilara looked up at him. "No offense, but some people think success looks like this. The money, the buildings, the titles. And I'm different. I just want her to know that she's safe, that she has someone who will always be there." There was something final in the way she said it. Vincent nodded slowly. "That is rare." Ilara turned back to the engine. "It should not be." But before he could reply, Zora came back with 2 paper cups of water, and the moment returned to motion. Zora handed him a cup like a peace offering. "It's warm," she warned. Vincent took a sip anyway. "Better than nothing." Ilara slid out from under the SUV with a tired groan, wiping her hands on a rag tucked into her back pocket. Her shirt was stuck to her shoulders, sweat soaking her collar. She looked like a woman who had been working since sunrise and probably had been. "It's done," she said. "It should run for a while." Vincent's eyebrows went up. "For a while?" Ilara gave him a half smile. "I patched the things that needed patching, but you keep running this engine without regular maintenance. It is going to keep dying." He looked at the car, then back at her. "Just like people," she continued. "If you do not take care of them, they will keep having problems." "Yes," Vincent murmured, "just like people." He followed her to her workbench. She scribbled some notes on a carbon paper notebook. There was no computer system, no emailed invoices, just a torn piece of paper and a handshake. Vincent pulled out his wallet. "How much do I owe you?" She slid the paper toward him. He blinked. "This is not right." "Yes, it is. This is too low. This is what it costs," she said. "I charge what it's worth, not what I can get." He looked at her face carefully. There was no deception, no performance, just a woman speaking the truth. "I will pay you double," he offered. She shook her head. "It is not necessary." Vincent crossed his arms. "That is not how things work." She looked him straight in the eye. "It is how it works here." He said nothing for a long second. The ceiling fan creaked. Outside, a car drove by, music drifting in. "Why did you take that bet?" he asked. "The one where I said I would pay you double if you could fix it." Ilara smirked. "I thought it would shut you up for a minute." That made him laugh harder than he intended to. "Well, mission accomplished." She walked back to the engine bay and leaned against it. "You look like someone who has not stopped for a long time." "Not really." She paused. "I thought maybe if I took your car apart for a minute, you would sit still long enough to breathe." Vincent stared at her. "Do you just read people's minds like that?" She shrugged. "Only when they walk in like they own the neighborhood." He was not defensive. He just lowered his face and smiled. "You know what is funny?" he said after a while. "What?" "I used to be like your daughter." Ilara glanced at Zora, who was now sitting on the floor, flipping through a coloring book. "What do you mean?" Curious, playful, loud at times, but thoughtful. "I used to spend hours drawing. I had a sketchbook in every bag I owned. Let me guess, you were told that was not practical." He nodded slowly, not directly, but yes. Eventually, ambition drowned it out. She nodded. "It happens to a lot of people. Do you ever want more than this?" he asked. "The shop, the heat, all of this." Ilara considered it for a second. "Sure, everyone wants more, but not all more is better. I want time. I want peace. I want to be here when my daughter gets home from school. That is the kind of rich I'm looking for." He leaned against the wall, his arms crossed, his bottom lip caught between his teeth. "I think you are the first woman I have ever met who has said that." She did not answer, only looked down, adjusting the rag in her hand. "Hey," Vincent said, "you think people like me live in a bubble, don't you?" "I do not think," Ilara replied. "I observe." He smirked. "All right, then you're right. My day is scheduled down to 5-minute increments. I eat pre-packaged food. I sleep with my phone face up. Everything looks glamorous, but most of the time I am just exhausted." Ilara nodded once. "Then maybe the engine is not the only thing that needs a fix." But before he could reply, Zora stood up and proudly held out her sketchbook, and the moment softened. The drawing was whimsical, his SUV personified with large eyes and a smug smile. Vincent could not help but smile. He paid Ilara exactly what the invoice said, even though he tried to give her more. She just shook her head. "It is enough," she said, with finality. As he prepared to leave, he stopped at the door, turning to look at the woman and her daughter amidst the tires and tools. There was something in his eyes, a mixture of pity and admiration, the kind that Ilara had seen 100 times. "Do not look at it that way," she said, her voice even but allowing for no misinterpretation. "This is a choice." He was surprised. "A choice?" Ilara wiped a smear of grease from her cheek. "A few years ago, Zora got sick. The medical bills were expensive. I was offered a side job, fixing cars for a guy I knew was not straight. Cash, no questions asked. The money I would have made in a month was more than I make here in 6. Vincent was silent, waiting. His CEO brain was already calculating the risks and the benefits. "I said no," she said simply. "I could not look my daughter in the eye every morning if I had taken that job." She looked him straight in the eye, her own clear and unwavering. "Some people think success means having money and status, but I just want my child to be safe and to know that I'm present." The words hung in the humid air. For the first time, Vincent had no words. He just nodded, a silent acknowledgement. He got into his repaired car, turning the ignition. The engine hummed to life, a stark contrast to the chaos in his own mind. As he drove away, the image of the resilient mechanic and her definition of wealth was seared into his mind. The next time Vincent came, it was a Wednesday morning. There was no engine trouble, no scheduled appointment, and no expensive leather shoes. He drove his old SUV, now humming smoothly, and parked in the same spot under the Crooked Bell's auto repair sign. He got out with a brown paper bag in one hand and a brand new sketchbook in the other. Zora spotted him first through the window and gasped, "Mom, he's back." Ilara's head popped out from under a Jeep. "Is there a problem with the car?" "No," Vincent said. "Lunch?" She looked skeptical. "For me? For both of you. I brought chicken salad and what looks like lemonade, but could be poison. Let's find out." Zora snatched the bag before her mother could object. "He's cool. Can he stay, Mom?" Ilara wiped her hands and shook her head slowly, more amused than annoyed. "All right, why not?" They sat on wooden crates in the back in the shade. They sipped drinks from paper cups and made small talk, the kind that does not need an agenda. Vincent gave the sketchbook to Zora. "I figured your old one was getting full. You deserve better paper." Zora beamed. "This smells like money." Vincent chuckled. "That's how you know it's the real deal." Ilara took a bite of her sandwich and nodded slowly. "So, what really brought you here?" He hesitated. "I just wanted some quiet. She did not press, only chewed quietly. Then she said, "Most people in your position do not know how to sit still. Are you okay?" Vincent stared at the gravel for a moment, then sighed. "Honestly, I have no idea. I have been running for so long. I forgot what it feels like to just sit." Zora interrupted. "You should come here more. We have old tires to sit on, weird smells, and free gum sometimes." Alara shot her a look, but Vincent laughed, a tempting offer. That visit turned into another, and then another. Sometimes he brought pastries. Other days, he brought a book he had not had time to read. Once, he even brought Ilara a new set of wrenches with her name etched on the handles. She said it was too much, but she used them anyway. They never planned anything. He just showed up, staying for an hour or two if the shop was empty. They never talked about work, at least not his. She never asked, and he never bragged. He told her about a dog he almost adopted, a brother he had not talked to in years, and a dream he once had of becoming an architect who designed children's books. She listened, occasionally replying, but mostly she just let him talk without trying to solve anything. One afternoon, Zora brought out her latest drawing. It was a picture of the three of them. Vincent in his business shirt but barefoot, Alara with grease on her face and a wrench in her hand, and Zora in the middle, holding hands with both of them. Vincent stared at it for a long moment. "You got my bad side." Zora grinned. "That's your real side." Ilara looked over her shoulder. "She draws what she sees." Vincent nodded slowly. "Then maybe I need to look in the mirror more often." At one point, he asked Ilara, "Do you ever wish we had met under different circumstances?" She looked at him, puzzled. "What's wrong with these?" He thought about all of it. The sweat, the gravel, the warm water in the paper cups, the conversations that floated like the lazy jazz from her radio. "Nothing," he said. "Absolutely nothing." But even as he said it, he felt something shift. Something deeper than gratitude, yet quieter than love. It was raining the next time he showed up. Not the polite rain that taps on a window, but the thick, sideways kind that soaked your ankles in seconds. Vincent scurried into the garage, using his bag as a shield. He looked like a man who had just escaped a kidnapping situation at a board meeting. Ilara looked up from a jacked-up truck and smirked. "You know umbrellas are a thing, right?" "I know," he panted, dropping the soggy bag on the counter. "I'm trying to outrun the guilt of canceling my 4th therapy session in a row." Zora's head popped out from behind a stack of tires. "Want a towel?" "Yes, and probably a dry sole." She disappeared into the back with a giggle. Ilara leaned against the workbench. "A bad day, a bad week. Just when I think I'm catching my breath, something else tightens its grip around my throat. The work, the investors, my team, my phone. Have you tried turning it off?" Vincent shot her a look. "I'm not you, Ilara. No one is," she replied, too calmly. "That's your problem." He dried his hair with the towel Zora brought and slumped into the corner of the couch, his eyes on a cracked ceiling tile above. "I had to let someone go today. A good, loyal person, just not the right fit for the new structure we're building." Ilara did not flinch. "And you feel like garbage about it." "Precisely." "Did you tell her that?" "No." "Why not?" He hesitated. "Because I did not want her to think I was getting soft." Ilara raised an eyebrow. Sometimes soft is honest. Vincent was silent, contemplating. Zora crawled up next to him on the couch. "Do you ever cry at work?" Vincent gave a weak smile. "More than I would like to admit. I saw my mum cry once," Zora said. "I did not say anything. I just sat with her." Vincent slowly turned his head. "That is what you're doing now, isn't it?" She shrugged. "Maybe." Vincent looked over at Ilara. "Do you ever wish life came with a manual?" She wiped her hands on a rag. "Every single day, but if it did, I would have skipped the hard chapters." They did not talk much after that. Ilara went back to work. Zora sketched quietly. Vincent just sat, doing nothing, for the first time in what felt like days, and it felt like enough. As he prepared to leave, he stopped at the door. "You know, It has been a long time since anyone has told me the truth without trying to sell me something. Ilara did not look up. The truth does not cost money. He smiled. Yes, but it is hard to find. On a Saturday, he arrived with a file folder. I need your opinion, he said, placing it on the counter. Ilara wiped her hands clean and flipped through the pages. What is this? A proposal for a community transportation contract. Good pay, low overhead, but it is going to be complicated and political. I need a local's input. You mean me? Yes. She looked up. Why? Because I trust you and because you have built something here. People like you. They listen. Ilara considered this. You are not doing this out of guilt, are you? No. I'm doing it because I am tired of building empires that do not benefit real people. She looked at the file again. I will think about it. Take your time. She gave him a rare smile. You're learning. That afternoon, Zora gave him a bracelet made of scrap wire and a rusted nut. It's a friendship bracelet, she said proudly. Vincent put it on like it was Cartier. I'll wear this to my next board meeting. You should, Zora warned. They laughed. All three of them. The kind of laugh that settled deep in the chest and stayed there. But it was not the bracelet or the new offer that stayed with Vincent. It was the realization that this garage had become something solid in his life, something that did not need to be fixed. The last time he visited that summer, the air had shifted. The heat no longer felt heavy, just familiar. Vincent did not bring food or files. He just showed up in jeans and a t-shirt, holding a small white box, wrapped in a simple twine. Zora was waiting, sitting on the same milk crate, chewing on a pen cap. You're late, she said. I did not know I was expected. Zora shrugged. You are basically a part-time employee now. Inside, Ilara was adjusting a belt on a rusty red pickup. She gave him a quick glance but did not stop working. Is something wrong? No, he said, placing the box on the counter. Something's right. Ilara looked at the box, then at him. What is it? Open it. She wiped her hands, then slowly uncoiled the twine. Inside was a small sign, dark wood, with clean lines. The metal plate read, Bell's Auto Repair. Sometimes the best work is done off the books. She stared at it for a long moment, then looked at him with a stillness that said more than words. I made it last week, Vincent said. Did not know if I would actually bring it. Zora looked into the box. This is fancy. Are we famous now? Vincent smiled. You were always important. Now you are just official. Ilara ran her finger along the edge of the sign. This is too much. No, it is not, he said softly. They sat outside for a while, sipping iced tea that Zora had proudly made with too much sugar. The three did not talk much, just watched the few cars that drove by. Occasionally a gust of wind would kick up dust from the gravel lot. Do you remember the first time we met? Vincent asked. Ilara did not even look at him. You said you'd pay me double the value of the car if I fixed your engine. Zora's eyes widened. Wait, what? It was a challenge, Vincent said quickly. No, it was not, Ilara replied nonchalantly. He laughed. You took it seriously. No, she said. I just wanted to see what kind of man would make an offer like that to a stranger in a hot garage, and you were exactly what I thought you would be. He raised an eyebrow, looking tired, defensive. He did not reply, just looked down at his drink and swirled the ice with his finger. After a pause, Ilara added, You still look like that sometimes. He sighed. Yeah, but less than I used to. They eventually moved back inside. Vincent helped Zora organize some of her drawings into a folder. Some were cartoons, others were so detailed they looked like charcoal portraits. He noticed one was a new version of the sketch she had drawn months ago, the three of them. This time she had added a sun above them and two small toolboxes sitting side by side. Can I keep this one? Vincent asked. No, Zora said bluntly. That one is mine. Vincent laughed. Fair enough. As the day drifted into late afternoon, he stood in front of the garage with his keys in his hand. The engine still purred, perfectly tuned, but he hesitated before getting in. "You know," he said, turning back to Alara, "I thought I had everything figured out when I drove in here the first time, thought I had all the answers." She leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "And now?" she asked. He smiled. "Now I know I was asking the wrong questions." She nodded once, then pushed off the wall and stepped toward him. "You do not have to be running all the time. Some things become clearer when you are still." He swallowed it like a hard-to-accept truth. "I will be back," he said. "I know." He looked over at Zora, who was waving from the garage door with her signature smirk. Vincent got into his car, rolled down the window, and said, "Do not forget me when you're famous." Zora yelled back, "I won't. You're in like 12 of my drawings." As he drove away, Vincent felt something he had not felt in years. Not relief, not escape, but peace. Not the kind you find on a beach or in a yoga class, but the kind you find when someone sees you, truly sees you, and does not demand that you change. Sometimes the most important repairs are not made with tools. They are made with time and space. And a kid with a sketchbook who thinks you are more interesting than your job title. This was not a love story. It was something more powerful. It was a reminder that friendship can be the one thing that saves you when nothing else works. Life is not always about what is broken. Sometimes it is about who is willing to help you build it back. The sign Vincent gave was not just a gift for the auto shop, but a silent thank you for helping him repair himself.